We'll be live.
Hello.
Have you seen Harris copying you? He goes like this. Hello.
Yeah, it's so cute. It's funny to see like a grown-ass man doing that.
Wait, you have to wait 30 seconds before you say yes. Now I said it too. You said it at 20-second mark. Oh. Guys, like the video. Like the video for the algorithm. For Al Gore. Like the video for Al Gore.
Is that what people say now?
Yes, Al Gore. For Al Gore.
Oh my
yes,
God.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay, cool. So guys, this is the Atheist Republic news. We cover 10 news items every week from around the world, mostly about religion and secularism. Tell us in the live chat where you're watching from. I will highlight them as I see them. Like, oh, look at this. Even before me asking. Saying like and hi from India. Yes, please like the stream. And also let us know in the Korean version. So I'll do the Korean version so that we're international. Okay?
There's another one that people do. I'm like...
Yes, let us know. And what else? Oh, yeah. So, Susie, today's news, 10 news items. Are they sad? Are they happy? Are they ridiculous? Are they tragic? Are they gory?
We have mostly, I mean, okay. It's a mix. There's like some stuff that's controversial, some stuff that's just like right-wing religious nonsense, some stuff that's a little bit more political, and some stuff that like is not that big of a deal. And then obviously our first two stories are like a very big deal. So
which countries are we talking here?
We're talking about Iran, Afghanistan, a couple stories from India, Turkey, Malaysia, Morocco. Actually multiple stories from Turkey this week. And a lot from India.
A lot from India. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Can we clap for the first news?
This first news? Yeah, this is actually very interesting.
Okay, cool. First
news. Senior Ayatollah mandates self-defense against Iranian undercover police. In a historic move not seen before in the Islamic Republic of Iran's history, Grand Ayatollah Asadullah Bayat Zanjani issued a fatwa, or religious decree, that declared self-defense against plainclothes officers of the regime as a mandatory religious duty for Muslims. Bayat Zanjani, a senior theologian, writer, and Grand Marja of Islam, decreed his fatwa as Iran grapples with countrywide protests that erupted after the death of Mahsa Amini. This is particularly significant as Shia Islamic jurisprudence proclaims it as a sin to fail to undertake a mandatory action as declared by a marja, or source of emulation. Iran's response has increasingly become brutal and even led to its lawmakers pressuring the judiciary to sentence protesters to death. The regime's crackdown has included a wide use of police and military personnel in plain clothes, often indistinguishable from armed criminals, and they are known to use indiscriminate, violent force. The violent repression of the protests has resulted in the deaths of nearly 400 civilians since September 16th. The Islamic regime denied any involvement with these plainclothes assailants. When asked what a Muslim should do if an unknown person armed with firearms or other weapons attacks a Muslim, quote, based on the assumptions presented by a question, a proportionate defense is mandatory, Bayat Zanjani responded.
Okay, so Bengali Hindus is misunderstanding this. He's asking self-defense of undercover police against civilians? No! This is why this is shocking, okay? So if you've not noticed, there's been a major drift between religious people in Iran over this recent protest. This is why these recent protests are, unique in the way that is dividing even the religious people against each other. So this major Shia cleric is telling the people that they have the right to go violent on police, plainclothes police, armed forces, or moral police, as they call it in Iran, right? So this religious cleric in Iran is taking the side of the people against regime forces. They're like, you do what you will, like you do what you have to do to defend yourself. And
well, it's actually more than just saying you have a right to self-defense in this circumstance. It's saying as a Muslim, it's actually a sin for you to fail to undertake this action that I am declaring as mandatory. Because he has the authority as the marja to declare these kinds of things.
Right. So he's like, yeah, so in Shia Islam, so he's telling religious people who follow him, because in Shia Islam you have to have the marja, okay? That if you don't, because if you don't follow him based on this version of Shia Islam, you're sinning. So he's not telling them that it's your duty now to resist the police with violence, which is crazy. This is coming from a cleric, a high cleric. This is insane. This is like, we're reading this from a reputable source. So I had to do a double take when I saw this.
Yeah, wait, Armin, tell me your reaction when I first sent this to you.
I know, but Susie, I'm is this real? Susie is where is he getting this from? And then it's Iran buyer. They are pretty. That's a pretty good source. For the first time in Islamic Republic's more than 4-decade history, a high-level Iranian Shia cleric has issued a fatwa making it mandatory for Muslims to defend themselves or other Muslims. So it's not just so now if you see the Basij or the moral police going after other people, you have to step in as well. It's not just it's your duty to defend them as well against the regime forces.
Because we've been seeing a lot of this in Iran, where people are increasingly actually interfering when the authorities, particularly plainclothes officers, try to arrest people. Crowds and mobs will come and prevent the arrest from happening and scare off the authorities many times. So this is becoming increasingly more frequent. I think what's also very significant about this is that a few weeks ago, we talked about how there was a group of seminarians from the most religious cities and holiest cities in Iran that put out a statement talking about how they declared Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, to be religiously illegitimate and they laid out all the reasons why his religious credentials aren't good enough and why he's illegitimate because of what he does and the way his government is run and who he puts into places of power and how they don't fulfill their religious duties, all this stuff. But that letter, which was scathing and a roast fest of calling people out, it was epic, including talking about how the president
Okay, Susie, are you back?
Yes, I am back.
Okay, cool.
What I was saying was that what's significant about this move is that we actually know who said it this time. Because with the letter that came out from Qom, it just said, oh, we're a group of seminarians, blah, blah, blah. But it was completely anonymous. This is actually someone putting their name behind it and coming out in public. And it's a very senior marja as well. And that itself is very significant.
Okay.
Because Khamenei actually isn't a marja, right?
Well, he is now, but he's not supposed to be. Well, let's that's a different discussion. I don't want to get into that. But by the way, guys, keep telling us in the live chat where you are watching from. I'll try to highlight it as the stream goes by. Okay. Let me just show you what one of these plainclothes Basijis are now dealing with. So Basijis are plainclothes people that are supposed to uphold Islamic moral law, which mostly translates to young boys having a government license to harass women about their clothing and their hijab. That's what it translates to. Basically, they go around and tell women. And when I was in Iran, and for the past couple of decades, Iranian women have been constantly afraid of Basijis and Niru Intizami, which are they do actually have clothing of like police, but these idiots, they don't. Okay, so they constantly, women in Iran have always had to walk, like look over the shoulder, because one of these besiegers could just jump out of the woods and like harass you. Okay, Islamically, to tell you about like not being morally Islamic, right? So now look at this video that I'm about to show you, because things have changed. Okay, it used to be women without proper hijab that used to be afraid of mullahs, right? Now women are walking around Iran without hijab in crazy numbers, like as if it's like not Iran anymore, right? And mullahs, are their turbans are being knocked off all the time. So now the mullahs are afraid.
It's called
The women
turban
are,
tipping.
yeah, it's called, turban tipping has become a new active sports in Iran, like for, as they call it, right, in Iran, right? Like mullahs are now tying their turbans around their heads because they're afraid of somebody knocking it
Okay,
off.
the mullahs look like they're wearing a hijab because of the way that they tie
They
the
tie it
turban
now,
to their
so,
head,
but it's
under
so
their chin.
common.
It's so funny.
But it means it's so common. Like turbans are constantly being knocked off. Like so mullahs are now watching. The women are now feeling like, it's not that the law has changed. The law is still against women. That you are supposed to wear the hijab, but there's just not enough enforcement because of the protests that women are just not wearing their hijab. Like if you go to the streets in Iran, in so many places, most women just don't wear their hijab, but the mullahs are afraid. But it's become even more intense because these Basijis who used to harass women and used to make women like run away from them, look what has happened. This is a Basiji who saw a woman doing something immoral, so he did what most Basijis do. He goes to a car and removes the plate number, right? So removing your plate number is a way for the Basij to track you down eventually. Like you drive away, but he has your plate number, so now he can track you. You have to come and get your plate number back. So now they got you, right? But this woman gets out of the car, and look at what happens. This is the new Iran. This is the new Iran, where the people who are running away. And the woman who used to run away, look what they're doing now. Okay, look at this. This is the new kind of interaction between a Basiji and a woman. Okay.
Oh, snap. Can you hear what she's saying?
Yeah. Can you hear?
Yeah, it's just very quiet.
Okay, let me translate. Okay. So like the woman who's recording, like
she
this,
slaps him so hard in the face.
Yeah. So the woman who's recording is saying, "This man just removed our plate number." It's like she's saying, "Why?" Like the woman, "Why are you afraid? Why are you afraid? Like, don't be afraid. Why are you afraid of?" So some guy on a motorcycle is saying, "Let him go." And she's like, "Why would we let him go? He took our plate number." Like, why would we let it go? We're not gonna let him go. Like, why are you afraid? Show your face. Oh, because he was trying to hide her face, so they remove his mask so that they could record his face, and now they have his face. But look, this is a face of a man who has no idea how things got to this level, right? This is a man who went and got a Basiji card because he thought that he could use it as a way to legally harass women. He was like, he did not sign up for this. Look
at the facial expression. Like,
right?
Wondering how I got into this situation.
Yes, he did not sign up for being beaten up and identified on camera with his face, because this man is not going to be in danger. I can tell you now, the situation in
100%.
Yeah, this man did not expect for this to be his destiny, like this is look at the shot. Like, what is this is not how this was supposed to happen. I was supposed to be harassing you. By the way, guys, things in Iran are going crazy. Like, this is like a war zone now, because people are being killed, and now it's not just the protesters. The regime armed forces are being killed. And I can't show you the videos, But there is now a trend of officials like armed forces, like or the IRGC members, being found bloody and butt naked with their dicks hanging out and running in the streets or dead. But like the videos show them like being beaten, but all of them have their pants and underwear removed, and their like butts and dicks are showing. Right?
You sent me a
Uh,
video of this guy walking around just blood everywhere without his pants on, just walking around looking dazed. I'm like, what the hell is happening here?
Right. So, I mean, this is worse than that. Like, this is a huge embarrassment for them. So, for a lot of these people who are supposed to be manly and honored and stuff, this is
Well, the
worse
gay
than
rats,
death.
like,
Yeah. So, this is a lot worse than death. So, I think that's why they're pulling their pants down. Like, noticing that you might die is one thing, but you noticing that you might die, but also your tiny little dick showing when they take pictures of your dead body and like people spreading it around, that is something like really scary for these people, right? But like, yeah, I can't. I wanted to show you another video. I don't know if you could take it, right?
what is it?
But it's really gross. Like the guy is being beaten and he's like his dicks and balls are like hanging out. It's just like
We can't show that on YouTube.
yeah, I know. I was gonna send it to you. I didn't send it to you
Okay, no, you
because I
should
was.
send it to me.
Yeah, you want to see that? Okay,
Oh
but
boy.
but people are they again. I'm not encouraging anything here on YouTube, okay, because it's violates YouTube standards. But a lot of Iranian people are celebrating it, and there's a lot of dead like Iranian officials, and people are mocking it and saying like, "Oh, this guy committed suicide. Oh no, look at this guy was beaten by a dog. Was bit by a dog." But
He
the
died
reason,
of congenital heart disease all this in the
yeah, oh
middle
my
of the
god.
street.
Like, oh no, look at him having a heart. Like they're showing a video of somebody being beaten to death, and like, oh no, he's having a heart attack. Poor guy. And the reason why they're saying all of this is because the regime hasn't admitted to a single killing of protesters, a single one of them, even though more than 400 people have been killed by the regime, and more than 50 of them children, which I'm going to show one of them to you right after this, right? They haven't admitted to one. They have stories for every single one of them. They're like, this one was bitten by a dog. This one jumped off the building. This one had a heart attack. This one died in a car accident.
Had a brain tumor, had a history of epilepsy.
Right. So
BS.
people now that the people who are killing the government officials, they're like, oh yeah, this guy. Look at this. They killed the mullah also, by the way. They're like, oh no, poor mullah. Like he was dead in the middle of a highway. I'm like, oh no, he fell from a high tower. Like even though there's no high towers there, so it's kind of like, yeah. So Oxymoron is saying, stop sending dick pics to Susie. Okay.
Okay, you were talking about something really serious, but I was laughing so hard inside at that comment. People were like, that's sexual harassment.
Well, I mean,
Oh
these
my God.
these are the kinds that is justified. Okay.
True.
Yeah. Well, let me show some. Yeah, go on.
No, go ahead.
I wanna. If you see anybody mentioning where they are, watching from, highlight it because I was speaking.
Mhm.
I don't know. So, on a more serious note, this is gonna get very serious and very sad right now. So be prepared for that. Okay. I showed this on Secular Jihadist with Harris. I just want to make sure I show it here as well, right? This is Kian, okay? And Kian wanted to be a robotic engineer, right? Look at him. His goal in life was to be a robotic engineer. So this is him in school. So Kian was shot dead by the regime. Okay, and there's a video I wanted to show that I can show here. So I'm gonna find a replacement photo because that's what people are. Wait, actually, let me show you another video first about Kian with his school projects that he's so proud of. So this is Kian again. Look at the device that he built here. And he's doing this for a school project. And he starts by saying, in the name of the God of the rainbow, right? So he says, in the name of the God of the rainbow, this is something what I don't know what it's called. I built. It's for this special competition. I built it. It's for a demonstration. So now I say I want to test it here now and see if it works.
Oh, that's so cool.
So it says, as you can see now, it works. It works properly. So the government shot this boy dead, and the family of Kian knew that the government will take the body of Kian, like the other protesters, and hold it as hostage for them to come and say on TV that Kian was killed by the protesters, not by the government.
Actually, they're trying to frame it as a terrorist attack by ISIS.
Yeah. No, I will clarify that later. That's not like that's what happened after, right? So before that happened, the reason why the mother didn't. So what happened was the mother didn't let anybody take the Kian's dead body. So Kian's mother kept Kian's body in her house with ice all around it as a way to make sure that nobody takes the body away. So the pictures I can't show you is pictures of Kian with bullets in his body and ice all around his body in Kian's house, because of the history of the regime of taking the bodies away and forcing the family to come on camera and say that it wasn't the regime forces that killed him before you get the body, right?
They'll extort families for their family members' bodies. They'll force them to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to get the bodies back. There was even a story of a guy who was killed in the protests who they forced the family to turn over the car that the victim of the regime had recently bought, and they would only give them the body of the protester in exchange for his newly purchased car.
Right. So usually, so this one, like Susanna said, they said it was ISIS, which is bizarre. But usually, they for older boys that they get killed, the regime narrative is that they were a Basiji member and the protesters killed him. Like there was another boy that was killed that all of his social media was anti-regime stuff and for the protesters, and he got killed. And the regime is saying like, oh, he was a Basiji killed by the protesters. Like, are you kidding me? This guy was like anti-regime. Look at all his posts, right? So, which is bizarre. By the way, this is like, I want to show you this. So you saw the equipment he made, right? Look at what people.
There we go.
Yeah, look at people are now making it. This is his device going to heaven.
Oh.
Yeah. People. Wait, there was another one with audio. I can't find that one, but there was another one. Hold on. Anyways, if I could find it. Oops. Also, but it was, yeah, hold on. Let me show you. This is Kian again with planting a tree. Oh, I can't do it with music, sorry. And this is Kian going to heaven on his little device. And I can't find the picture right now, but there was another one showing the protesters. Oh, Susie, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, keep going.
No, it's okay. So this is the one that I can't. I was going to show instead of his body because ice was around all his body, and when we saw his picture, and the rainbow is because they say because he said in the name of the god of the rainbow. And let me find another one. Oh yeah, so these are so Kian is not the only one, but Kian's death has captured a lot of people's attention. so much so that it has sparked a new wave again. Every one of these deaths, some of them hit a nerve in such a way. But I just want to remind you that the death toll as of September 17th, so this is actually pretty old, was
You mean
402.
November 18th?
Oh, November 18th. So between September 17th and November 18th. Okay, so 402 protesters were killed, and 58 of them so far have been children, right? Look at the number right below it. There is 54 regime forces killed. And this is another thing. There's a lot of new things about these protests, which is unique compared to other protests. One of them is the fact that people are fighting back, and actually 54 people of regime forces have been killed as well. Around 17,000 people have been arrested so far, and not all of them have been identified. So UNICEF, which is the UN part of UN that focuses on children, hasn't been saying anything about any of this, because they also work with the Islamic Republic, and a lot of people are like criticizing UNICEF about not having any statement about any of this. So a lot of people are posting this: UNICEF not for every child. And I just want to show you, like, things are escalating. Like, just one picture to show how people are actually fighting back is like people are actually building their own structure as a way to fight back against regime forces.
Yeah, that's Mahabad.
Oh wow! How do you know the location? Jesus Christ! Amazing.
Well, because what's happening in Mahabad right now is like super significant. So for those who don't know, like, it's really bad right now. Like, literally as we speak. I mean, like, around the time I was going to sleep last night, like, all these videos were coming out, and they cut the electricity. There's extremely heavy artillery fire being heard in every video that comes out. Women wailing, sobbing. There was this report that came out today, and it says social media footage suggests that the regime deployed the IRGC ground forces to violently suppress the protests in Mahabad, West Azerbaijan province on November 19th. An Iranian Kurdish rights organization reported the Iranian officials had deployed a significant number of armed troops from the IRGC forces, Hamza 3rd Special Forces Division in Western Azerbaijan province, amidst reports of widespread unrest. Footage circulating on social media shows numerous armed vehicles within and in the vicinity of Mahabad. Other footage has audible sounds of artillery being fired. Social media users are reporting heavy gunfire, the indiscriminate use of violence, including shooting into residents' homes, and electricity cuts throughout the city. This is seemingly the first time the regime has deployed the IRGC ground forces to combat units to suppress unrest since the beginning of the protest commenced on September 16th, marking a significant escalation in the regime's protest response. IRGC ground forces personnel have reportedly been killed in previous incidents, suggesting that elements of the IRGC ground forces have been involved in protest suppression, but it is unlikely. This is likely the first time an IRGC ground force unit has been deployed with combat kit. So this is an extremely, extremely significant escalation. And this is like the same units that would have been used to start a ground invasion of Iraq. So this is what's happening against their own citizens.
Okay. I did find the video that I wanted to show with the audio, actually. So they made his audio explaining that he made a device over this video. I saw a lot of people having this device made in the protest and holding it up while they're protesting. There's so many people that people didn't imagine that will come out, join the protest, like so many celebrities that thought people didn't expect. After Kian's death, they just like, especially a lot of mothers, because they imagined him being their own little baby boy. So they just joined the protest after seeing that. They were like, okay, I don't care what happens to me anymore. This is enough. Like they felt really guilty if they didn't show up. By the way, Kian's mother, at his burial, at the burial of Kian, came out with a speech that was really aggressively anti-government and anti-Khamenei, and he said everywhere there that she knows that it was the regime forces that killed her son, right? Also, she said that Kian didn't like reading the Quran, so she asked everybody not to read the Quran for his burial because Kian didn't like reading the Quran. So that was and then she said like, when they were shooting, Kian couldn't hide under the seat because he was too chubby, so he wouldn't fit. Like he was trying to hide under the seat, but he wasn't fitting under the seat. He sang a song, like a childhood song, against the Khamenei. When she was there, and then she was arrested, and now under forced confession, she was like, "Oh no." I don't know what happened. Like you could see another video of her. Like she looks very stressful. I don't know what they did to her, right? But it was completely different from what she was when she was speaking at the burial. And she said, like, I didn't sing a song, which actually kind of puts the whole forced confession into question because we have videos of her singing a song against Khamenei. So, like, I think that was a smart lie of her because it was an obvious lie as a way to dismiss everything else she was saying during that forced confession, because people know, like, obviously, well, what you're talking about. We have a video of you singing that song. Yeah, but it's just so disgusting to see her give a forced confession because you see these people so strongly standing, and I don't know what the hell they do to him to come out and so nervously saying backtracking and having to take all of it back. I don't know what kind of mental torture they go through. They say a lot of people who get free is like they threaten your loved ones. That's the way they get at you. By the way,
my father got shot too when he's in really severe condition, so they're very vulnerable. But Armin, what do you think about the ground forces of the IRGC being deployed in Mahabad?
The thing, okay, so many of the people who have been killed have been IRGC, commanders and they're acting like, oh, we finally brought IRGC, okay? But if you look at the people who they have had commanding the ground forces right now, the IRGC has been involved. Like, I don't know what else they could do. Like, they act like, oh, we have so many forces in reserve, and every day, any day, we could, clean this up at any moment we want. But, like, what are you talking about? Like, you're telling us that you could have cleaned this up for 3 months, and you're just letting it happen? Like, I think they're bluffing. I think, like, I used to think that they have a lot more forces in reserve, and they could just, like, clean this up whenever they want. But to me, like, if they had anything, they would have used it by now, because they don't. This is destroying them. This is like humiliating them. This makes them look bad. I mean, why? So okay, so there's this. They have more forces, okay, but they can't use them because first of all, the forces that they have is meant for war with armed forces, not about maintaining, not for anti-protest forces. Do you know what I mean? It's not meant to for example, they have a lot more forces, but it's like helicopters and tanks. What the hell are they supposed to do with that against people, right? They can't make people go home if you just bring a tank in the goddamn street. Also, if they do that,
but they do shoot at people from helicopters.
Yeah, but not like that happens like once during these protests, right? I don't think they're going to be able to just bring out all their armed forces and just start gunning down people in the street, because that would be the end of them. Like, that would mean the regime forces themselves would just give up. Like, I don't think I think they are doing everything they can. I don't think there are things they can do that they're not doing. I think they know if they do that, first of all, if every person they shoot, apparently 1,000 more people show up because of that one person that showed up that they killed, right? So imagine if they just come out with helicopters and gun down people. So they know they can't do that. Also, if they do that, a lot of the people from the regime itself, they were like, okay, that's I had enough. I'm not gonna what the hell? I'm not gonna start shooting people. I mean, they can do that in Sistan Baluchistan because they see that they have convinced a lot of the regime forces that these people are just terrorists and different from the rest of Iranians, especially because they have a different ethnicity. They could maybe do that in Kurdistan or Sistan Balochistan because of using different ethnicities as a way to create us and others mentality, right? But they can't do the same thing in Tehran or in Shiraz or in Isfahan or in Mashhad. They're not going to be able to do that because, again, this is like some racist shit happening here, right? You can do this to the Kurdish or Baluchi people, or maybe to Arab people, but they can't gun down Fars people, or else or the regime, the division, the mental division that you need to create in the minds of the armed forces hasn't been built there for them to be able to just like start shooting down fellow ethnically Fars people. I think, yeah, it's racist, yeah. Yeah. Anyways, we talked a lot about this.
In general, it's just been like a really terrible week.
Yeah.
Like, because it was also this past week was the 3rd year anniversary of the Bloody Alban massacre, which happened on November 15th through the 17th. And for those who don't know, in November of 2019, what started as a protest against the government removing like petrol subsidies turned into a massive anti-government demonstration. And then as many as, I mean, at least like 1,500 people were just massacred, dead in the streets. The government cut off all the internet so word couldn't get out. And it was a silent massacre of like 1,500 people. And the world just didn't pay attention. Like no one seemingly noticed. And so that anniversary happened this past week, and it reinvigorated a lot of the protests. But it was so stressful. Like every day, waking up, checking the phone every hour, like wondering, like, is there going to be another mass killing today? Are people being mass slaughtered in some city like right now? Like, you just don't know. And then what's happening in Mahabad right now, the videos are terrifying. And we received some news this week that I'm not allowed to talk about, but it really broke me.
Yeah, I know you really want to talk about that.
Like, I don't know, sometimes you have these moments where it's like you don't know how things can keep hurting so bad. Like when you're, constantly exposed to really devastating things, like sometimes you go into this state of like kind of a little bit of numbness, right? And each new devastation somehow hurts a little bit less than the last one. And that itself is terrifying. And yet somehow something new comes along to reveal a depth of pain that you didn't know was there before.
I found a video of the guy that I told you the government was trying to say he was a Basiji.
Yeah, wait, and is it just like it's so hard to compartmentalize, you know? I feel like I have to kill a part of myself to keep going about my daily life and, go do normal things, go to the grocery store, continue my obligations, and everyone else has, just like their daily normal life is just continuing as usual, and like everyone I'm close to is just not okay. And there's nothing to even say, you know? There's nothing, when you see each other, there's nothing to say. Because it's. What use is it to talk when it's so bad and it's so painful? I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
No, it's okay. And it's good that you're expressing yourself. I wanted to show you some other things, but can't because I can't find it. I was gonna show you a video of something beautiful to make you feel better, because there's a lot of videos of beautiful people in Tehran celebrating. Oh, I think I found it. Hold on, let me see. Oh yeah, yeah. Let me show you something beautiful, so you get cheered up a little bit, okay? Because this is how girls are now hanging in Iran. They're just handing out girls without hijab. People are walking up to them and telling them that their hair is making their city beautiful and giving them canned chocolate. Look at this. Oh, but she's handing out chocolates to girls without hijab, and the other one is too. So they're just exchanging it. They're like, "Oh, you're doing it too." Like, "Oh, you first take it. No, you first take it." Wait. Oh, you didn't have the idea. Hold on. Let me show you. Go back. Tell me if you don't have idea.
برای توی کوچه رقصیدن، برای ترسیدن به وقت بوسیدن، برای خواهرم خواهرت خواهرامون، برای تغییر مغزها که پوسیدن، برای شرمندگی، برای بی‌پولی، برای حسرت یک زندگی معمولی، برای کودک سوالگرد و آرزوهاش، برای اقتصاد دستوری، برای این هوای آلوده، برای ولیعصر و درختای فرسوده، برای پیروز و احتمال انقراضش، برای سگهای بیگناه ممنوعه، برای گریه های بیوقفه، برای تصویر تکرار این لحظه.
This is Iran. I don't even recognize it. Like, these girls just walking around with without hijab, like it's no one's business. This is unthinkable at my time. Okay, and they're going around and hugging each other, and like, let me show you a picture of what this looks like if you get one of these notes. Okay, so it's not just to be hijabi girls, but a lot of them are by hijabi girls or to hijabi girls, right? And this one is like a chocolate, like a pink chocolate with a pink note, and the note says, so she got it, and she and she took a picture for Instagram to show like that she received this chocolate, and she says, "Thank you that you made the city beautiful with your hair," and it says right under it, "For the hope of freedom." So I don't know, people. It's just like I just wanted to show you a positive side of this because there's a lot of hope right now. I know there's a lot of sadness and misery, but people are already feeling like this is a revolution that is already going somewhere. Like it's not like they can't believe that they can, that they can do this right now, right? But again, this is not enough. Like it doesn't mean that they're dissatisfied with this. Not at all. They want the regime to completely topple, right? This is a boy who was just killed, and the government tried to pretend like he is a Basiji, part of the Morocco police, but that was bullshit. He was one of the protesters. He went there. He had videos supporting the protesters, and he was joining the protests against the regime. And he just recently was shot, so people are celebrating his life.
ممکنه هر دفعه اونجوری که میخواستی پیش نره خاطر هم داره خوابو میگیره اصلا دوری و من دیگه.
So his name is Hamid Reza Ruhi, and they tried to steal him for their side. And this is Mehabad. I think Susanna wanted to talk about this when she comes back. But there seems to be an escalation in this cities. Susanna, did you want to talk about this? But the people there were like protesting, and they were like taking in position. Look at this here. They were singing, and they were ready for regime forces to come. But this is how they were occupying the streets. Look how far it goes. Mm-hmm. But this was right before a major crackdown, right? Like I heard, like right after this, the regime came and it was like shooting people. So what, do you know much more information about what happened here?
I mean, like what I was talking about earlier. Well, for the past few weeks, what's going on in Mahabad like has been on a different level of resistance than other cities. So some of the tactics deployed in Mahabad are more organized than in other places, and there are certain cities where what's going on could be described as like a latent insurgency. And so Mahabad, there's been more, tactics approaching the level of insurgency than in other cities. And so that's likely one reason why the crackdown is so much harder right now, because they're much more organized than in other places. They're like rumors of a new anti-regime Kurdish militia in Mahabad called the Guerrillas of Ishtar, but that could be just IRGC propaganda. And so analysts are saying that the regime may have decided to escalate its violent suppression partly for fear that more organized violent resistance could emerge. So, like I've said, as of last night, they just cut the electricity of the city, and you can hear just straight up artillery fire everywhere. And also, there's been really heavy protests and heavy violence in what's the name of the city? Bukan? Am I saying it right?
I don't know. These are okay, guys. These are new. These are cities that we haven't heard of when we grew up into Iran. Like these are smaller cities that people are like, we protested and started in a lot of these cities, right? A lot of Iranians were like, what is this city? Because rising up is not just happening in major cities that everybody knew. This is another new thing that is unique about this. Like even tiny little cities that for the first time we're discovering that exist are like rising up. So I actually don't know the name of the city, but look at these regime forces running away. Look at like the people are every time they run away, people record that and celebrate it because it shows that people are like people always celebrate when the regime forces are forced to run away. But look at it, it's turning into a war zone.
Yeah, no, the video coming out of Bukan looks like a freaking war zone. It's crazy.
There's certain cities that people are calling it captured, like a captured city. Like it's completely in the hands of the people. So I don't know. Like this is like look at oh my god. Oh, this is Mahabad again. Look at
That's
them
what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Look, they're bringing in the forces. I'm scared of scrolling down because it might get to something that we can't show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what's also something else very significant that happened was during the anniversary of Bloody Aban on this November 15th through the 17th. We saw mass protests across the country, but then also mass strikes. So the shopkeepers were striking, and also the steel workers and the oil workers were striking as well, which is very significant because they play such a central role in the economy and have such a giant market share. And also historically, it's very significant because the strike of oil workers was essential in toppling the Shah back during preceding the Islamic Revolution of 1979. But did you find what you were looking for?
No. But I can hear Babak though.
Okay.
It's okay. Anyways, we should move on to the other news, I think. What do you think? You want to tell Babak? Okay. All right. Let me actually show, while she goes and tells Babak, let me show you a picture of Kurdish girls. Look at this, rising up. Look at this beautiful picture. These are some girls. Like, look at this image is so beautiful, right? Because they're wearing this is their protesters, and these two girls up there like cheering the crowd. But this is a Kurdish outfit. So they're wearing their Kurdish, like usually men I think wear this outfit.
Yeah, it's a traditionally male outfit.
Male outfit, yeah, but it's like very Kurdish. So I mean, they look good. I mean, they look good in the Kurdish outfit. I never thought, but a lot of Iranians consider this to be we're used to feel like this is the backward thing. Like, yeah, people had racist views against people who wear clothes like this, but now because of the revolution, Iranian people feel closer than ever. Yeah. They cross barriers, they cross ethnicities. All right, so we should move on.
Okay.
Well, you want to say something to Babak or no?
I did.
Oh, okay. All right, can we clap for the next news?
Oh, we don't really like this.
Okay. All right, next news.
The Taliban goes full Sharia, floggings, amputations, executions, and all. Recently, Zabihullah Mujahid, the Taliban's chief spokesperson, said that Afghanistan's supreme leader, Hibatullah Akhundzada, made the obligatory command after meeting with a group of judges, ordering them to, quote, investigate the cases of thieves, kidnappers, and seditionists, and to fully implement Sharia punishments, including amputations, floggings, stonings, and public executions. Farhan Haq, the UN Secretary General's deputy spokesperson, expressed his worries on CNN regarding the Taliban's decision to re-establish Sharia law. Haq said, "They have not been living up to their commitments. We will continue to press them on this. We are opposed to the death penalty in all its forms." When the Taliban took over Afghanistan in August last year, after the US and NATO forces left the country, they initially promised to be more moderate and respect women's rights to reassure the international community and the Afghan population. However, they gradually suppressed human rights and even carried out executions in public, either in Kabul's Ghazi Stadium or in Eid-Gah Mosque. Last week, the Ministry of Virtue and Vice also banned women from using gyms, parks, fun fairs, and public baths. So, obviously, this is a very significant development and an extreme development, which is really important to cover. And so, for those who are not familiar, in Islamic jurisprudence, we have something called hudud punishments. And it depends on the type of crime, but hudud, there are certain crimes that fit under or qualify for hudud punishment. And these are things like adultery or extramarital sex, robbery, what else? Apostasy. So this is very significant. This is significant news for us as an atheist organization, because apostasy, aka leaving Islam, possibly becoming an atheist, qualifies for hudud punishments. And hudud punishments for these kinds of crimes include things like floggings, amputations of hands and limbs, and even death and execution. Apostasy or becoming an atheist is one of those things that qualifies for execution. So, yeah, this is, I mean, obviously horrible and extremely concerning news at large, but also particular concern for our community. Armin, give me your thoughts.
Well, I mean, it strategically makes sense, even though this does little to help Taliban get international recognition or like opening of the funds and trade coming to the country, as which Afghanistan needs right now a lot, right? Afghanistan needs a lot of money right now, very fast. It's facing a lot of extreme poverty, even worse than what Afghanistan is used to, which is quite a lot of it. But it could get a lot. It's going to get a lot worse for Afghanistan. So they need to be recognized by some countries so that they could trade, but they're not being recognized because of stuff like this. So you might think that strategically what they're doing doesn't make any sense, and this is like just Islamic mumbo jumbo, which it is, but it is also strategic because the fear of poverty for these, Afghanistan being hit by poverty is not as big as the fear of Taliban's authority and legitimacy to be challenged and questioned by its own members. So its own members did all the fighting and the dying and the martyrdom and everything for certain ideals. And if those ideals are not enforced, they're going to start questioning the entire leadership of the Taliban. So, and an internal conflict within them is more concerning to them, because that's the real thing that could, like, these foreign forces not recognizing them. Well, these foreign forces couldn't even defeat them. So them not recognizing them is going to just make Afghanis hungry. It's not going to it's still going to keep them in power though. Like they realize that they could still, they don't need these regimes. Like they're for them, the highest priority is for them to maintain their power and the grip on power over Afghanis getting food. And that's why, based on their priorities, what they're doing makes strategic sense. Things, however, like this is really bad. I mean, it's technically Islamically the worst place in the world right now. However, it's still not gotten to the point where it was 20 years ago, but it seems to be trying to get there. I don't know.
We'll head in that direction because he decreed that that it's mandatory to enforce this kind of rule of law. So this is just the announcement. We haven't even seen the fallout from this yet, really. Although, there are reports coming out already of public executions, of hanging the bodies of alleged kidnappers in public, of a lot of stories of people who've been accused of premarital sex being flogged in stadiums where everyone goes to watch and no one's allowed to film. So, a lot of this stuff is going on, but there was maybe more like, it wasn't, on the books. It wasn't it wasn't on the same level that it is now, where it's like, no, this is fully the way that we're going, and we expect you to follow suit. What I think is very significant is that some of the things that I was reading suggest that this is in reaction to the weakness of the security in the state, and how the Taliban has not been very good at preventing killings by ISIS-K. And so that they need a way to show their strength and might again to the population. What do you think about that, Armin?
Right. That's a very good point, actually. This is what the Islamic Republic does as well. Every time Israel comes and does something that shows that the Islamic Republic is not as powerful, like they do attack Iran, through their agents or whatever, and the Islamic Republic looks very weak, they assert their authority in a different way from somewhere else that is not even relevant, just to show like, hey, like, remember, we have teeth and we can bite, so don't you dare question our authority, right? So it might be like compensating, basically, to remind people who's like, if people are like, oh, you said Taliban's main sales pitch was not that we're going to bring you economic prosperity, was that we're going to bring you security, right? That's their main sales pitch. Like, oh, look, when we are in power, people are not going to steal, people are not going to do this, war will end, and everything will go back to being peaceful. You might not like our Islamic, how harsh we are being on Islam, but even the people who don't like it should enjoy the fact that they could now walk in the streets peacefully without somebody robbing them. Even if you don't like our harsh standards, at least you will get to stay alive. At least you get to send your kids to school without drones, US drones hitting them or something like that, right? But
we might be corrupt. We might force you to pay fees to use the highway, but we give you receipt for your corruption, so you only have to do it once, versus with the Afghan forces of the previous government, you used to constantly have to pay out.
But they're saying that's not corruption,
bribes.
Because we're the government. No, it's not even bribes. It's like, we're the government. That's not a bribe. That's the fee you have to pay that mandated by the government.
No, but right? I'm saying in contrast to the previous government, you used to have to pay bribes to corrupt officials all the time. But then with the Taliban-controlled areas, they would give you some form of receipt, so at least you only had to do that once, and so people preferred that. I'm just giving that as an example.
Yeah, so basically their narrative is that this is not corruption, because that was corruption, because it wasn't even part of the government. It was just the police officers. You had to bribe 10 police officers to be able to do something done, right? But here under but that was the previous regime. But here under Taliban, we have, this is not corruption. This is just a fee that you pay once, and because it's there's a system and nobody dares be corrupted, because under us, if you're corrupted, you get your hands chopped or die or something like that, right? So you're like, hey, less corruption, right? This is not even you have to pay a fee, but that's not corruption. That's just a mandated fee by the government, and it's less because you don't have to do it 12 or 10 or 12 times. You do it one time. But the point was that that narrative, that sales pitch by Taliban is being challenged because ISIS-K is just doing its thing and just blowing things up left and right, and the Taliban, who promised security, cannot defeat ISIS-K, right? Which is very interesting, because they acted like they're so powerful because they defeated the United States, but they now realizing that they didn't defeat the United States. The position was they caused chaos. They have to maintain stability, and it's easier to cause chaos than maintain stability. Now that the tables have turned and you have to maintain stability and somebody else has to create chaos, you're going to notice how hard it is to defeat the people who are in charge of causing chaos. Even though Taliban is a lot more powerful than ISIS-K, it's hard. It's hard for you to maintain stability. Their job is easier. So
I've seen some statistics that governments need 12 people in their armed forces for every one insurgent.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that number. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so that's pretty significant, especially for a very fragile state like Afghanistan, or what do they call it? The Islamic Emirate, nowadays. One thing that's also very significant that happened before this news about going full Sharia came out is that the Ministry of Propagating Virtue and the Prohibition of Vice, they banned women from using gyms, parks, amusement parks, and public baths. And their excuse for this is that previously, to use these kinds of facilities, men and women had to be completely segregated. And they would do this by saying, okay, men can only go this day, women can only go on this day. And apparently, according to the Taliban officials, people were not abiding by the segregation. They were being desegregated, and there were some women without hijab. Now, personally, I'm highly skeptical about what your standard for women without hijab is. Like, it could probably be someone totally wearing the headscarf, just not covered head to toe, like in a freaking burqa, and that's without hijab. And then people are coming forward and saying they're completely lying about people not being segregated. Like, they're just using this as an excuse to ban women from public life. When it comes to the parks and amusement parks, this is particularly sad because women are usually the ones that will take their children to the parks. So now the kids can't even go to the park either as a consequence. But the public baths is particularly significant because in many regions of Afghanistan, what's difficult is, I don't know, what people have different conceptions of what a public bath is. Like, in what I'm used to is basically like a nude spot, but I don't think that's like what's happening. That's not what's happening there.
No.
But what's significant about the ban of public baths is that many people, this is definitely not what's happening. Many people don't actually have access to hot water or
running water
in their own homes. And so public baths is essentially the only way in that they can clean themselves. Yes. And so now women are banned from public baths. So what the hell are you supposed to do?
And women need the cleaning more than men, especially when they have their period and stuff, right? So yeah,
no joke.
Yeah, so I think Oxymoron was confused about public bath as well. Like, no, it's not like
Islamically.
It's like,
don't you need that for your obligation?
Like you have what? No, that's separate. That's in the mosque. Public bath is just where you go
to be cleansed, to be clean, especially regarding your period. Like, I think there are certain steps women have to undergo to be purified.
Yes. They have
for their prayers. Yeah,
you have to do ghusl. Yes, but that's a different topic. But like, I know in public baths in Iran used to be. I saw videos of it like back before we were born. You would go sit and somebody would come and give you like some foam, and you'd still have your underwear, but you're like naked everywhere else. And then they will take the foam and they rub it, and then there's another guy will come and pour water on your head after you wash yourself. Like, it was like that. I don't know. But it was like a public place.
A Turkish bath. And so this is probably different, but it's a Turkish bath, and a guy is doing that, but he is kind of giving the customer like a massage, but he has him on a marble table, and he's whipping this guy around this marble table covered in foam like he's a freaking fish. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. He's like spinning him in circles, whipping him back and forth. Yeah, exactly like this.
The foam, like this is a Turkish bath.
Yeah. Except he's like getting spun around like like a fish out of butcher. It was some crazy stuff.
Turkish baths are amazing. I have been to a Turkish bath. The public baths based on Turkey standards are like a treatment, like they're like a sauna,
yeah. Oh my god! Yeah. But that's a different matter.
But that's not happening in Afghanistan.
No.
I think, like, I don't know. What do you think a public bath in Afghanistan looks like? I'm curious.
I really don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's not that. It's not what. Oh, there we go. I see now.
Wait, can you zoom in on one of these? I want to get a better look.
See, they're wearing their. Look, this guy is getting a scrub.
Okay.
Oh, look at it. It's like this. This is a public bath.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all wearing swim trunks.
So men have this now. Women don't have this anymore.
How the hell are you supposed to get clean? I don't understand.
Yeah, for these people who coming to this public bath, the reason why they come here is because they don't have any other way to wash themselves.
This is how you take a shower.
This is how you take a shower. This is like you don't have a shower at home, right? So women have been denied access to this. So that's great.
I find it highly skeptical that men and women were not abiding by gender segregation.
In a place like
Afghanistan.
Like this.
People do in America. If you violate that in America, people are gonna freak the fuck out. Like,
wait,
it's okay. Come on.
So the Taliban is claiming that in Afghanistan, in a place like this, women snuck in a place like there was a mixing of sexes in Afghanistan. That's like, I do not believe that, Taliban. I do not believe your propaganda. There's no way that in such a place in Afghanistan there were people would be sneaking in each other's baths. Like this doesn't happen in the US, like Susie said. Like sure, like I am so horny that I'm willing to die for it.
Hey, Armin, you say that as a joke, but that's a real thing.
Jake, actually, you're right. Okay, yeah.
In general, though, like, where do you have any predictions about where you see this going? Not predictions, that's a strong word, and I know you don't like it, but I don't know. I'm curious about your thoughts about how things move forward.
I think it's going to get worse. I think the poverty, we have it like Afghanistan, based on what some experts say, and experts have been shown to be wrong many times, so I don't know how right this is, but it's going to get hit badly with poverty. Like I know things
it already is like over 90%.
No. Yeah, but much bigger than what it is.
Oh, jeez.
Like, you know how big poverty is in Afghanistan? Like we're gonna hit famine level stuff. That's what people are worrying about. Like people are poor right now in Afghanistan, but we're like talking about starvation, mass starvation kind of stuff. So I don't know if that prediction is going to come true. I hope not. But yeah, you wouldn't expect.
I mean, we've been headed well towards that for a long time now. So
yeah, but people are saying it's about to happen, and it's bizarre for a country that is sitting on top of 1 trillion worth of rare minerals. That Afghanistan is sitting on top of 1 trillion worth of rare minerals. And they can't get access to
one of the world's largest reserves, right? If not,
not one of the world's is Afghanistan.
Crap.
The world's largest reserve.
Everyone needs for microchips. No big deal.
Everyone needs it right now, but rare minerals for Afghanistan is what like oil is to Saudi Arabia. That's how big of a deal it is for them, right? But nobody can access that because you need stability to be able to spend enough money to invest in all the infrastructure that it requires to get the rare minerals out. Oh, Sina is just celebrating his 9-month membership by saying, "Did you know books are banned in Turkmenistan?" No, I did not know that, but thank you for letting us know. Guys, use super chats and memberships. Become members if you're not YouTube members, and use super chats to support the news that we cover here and the way we cover it. You're not going to get that on anywhere else, especially on any other atheist channel. So this is like, we have a global perspective of the things we cover. So if you enjoy seeing us do what we do, become YouTube members or support us on PayPal or Patreon in the description, or use super chats. I don't know, like if you want, like that's good. Like Susanna has put a lot of work into preparing all this news for you. So if you want to show your support.
Yes, along with the support of our incredible news team. With the Turkmenistan book thing, I don't know if that's 100% true. I know that they do allow the book of like the supreme leader, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I promised something I don't remember to highlight this because you didn't notice when she said, "Hi, Susie." And then she said, "Susie didn't even notice." So I was like, okay. She really likes you. Something I don't remember. She really, really likes you. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Selva Kumar saying Atheist Republic, Armin, get Atheist Republic verified on Twitter. Well, we have to get our Twitter account back first before we can get verified. We're still suspended.
We're still suspended. I don't even know if we should spend the time to get our Twitter back because we don't know if there's going to be a Twitter left before we get our Twitter back. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yo, that's a whole different story. Like, what is going on over there?
Yeah. Okay.
Musk is like, I came here to chew gum and flip tables. And I'm all out of gum.
Okay. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes, this is pretty wild.
Next news.
Whoops. I misscrolled. Okay. Next news. Start over. Next news. Movie about Indian women in ISIS sparks controversy. The Bollywood film The Kerala Story, directed by Siddipto Sen, has sparked controversy by portraying the southern Indian state of Kerala as a haven for converting Hindu women into Islamic terrorism. Sen said it was based on a real-life information and events. However, no evidence has been provided. In the trailer, the woman claimed that 32,000 girls like her were quote-unquote buried in the deserts of Syria and Yemen. She states that a dangerous game is being played where ordinary girls are converted to Islam and then recruited by the terrorist group in Kerala. She tearfully pleads, "Will nobody stop them?" After the trailer's release, there was a backlash in the southern parts of India. The film has been accused of spreading false information, defaming the state's reputation, and even discrediting Indian intelligence agencies. In reality, there are only 4 to 6 known cases of Keralite women converting to Islam and traveling to join ISIS. Overall, there are roughly only 200 Indians throughout the country who have joined the terrorist group since 2016. After the trailer was released, some right-wing political figures accused the heavily left-leaning state of being a breeding ground for Islamic terrorism.
This is just Hindutva versus left-leaning people over Islam, isn't it? And Kerala being a left-leaning part of the country is part of the country that Hindutva hate.
Okay, because Kerala is one of the most prosperous, it's one of the most well-off in terms of quality of life states in the country. And BJP didn't win a single seat in the state during recent elections. And they have the highest rates of literacy, and they have the highest life expectancy. And Kerala also has more of a Muslim population than the rest of India. So according to the 2011 Indian census, throughout the national average of the Muslim population is around 14%. In Kerala, the percentage of Muslims is 26%. So almost double the national average, right? So they are more predominantly Muslim than other parts of the country. And what's so funny though, Armin, think about this figure. So in the trailer, this actress is 32,000 girls have been taken and they're dying in Syria and Yemen. Is no one going to stop them? But this number, 32,000.
32,000.
If you know anything about ISIS, yeah, Armin, talk to us about why this 32,000 is a little bit funny if you know anything about ISIS.
Well, because I'm assuming you're referring to the membership of ISIS, the total number of ISIS members, that at its peak was around 40,000. So if this number is accurate, this 30,000, ISIS was 75% women from Kerala. So I don't know. That's news to me. Where did they get 32,000? What is it with Indian propaganda that they make the numbers always such that nobody can believe it? Especially Hindutva. Make the propaganda in a way that people are like, hey, maybe you always shoot yourself in the foot with the numbers that you come up with. People are like, okay, this is obviously nonsense. This is obviously BS.
So
32,000. Yeah.
Somehow, throughout the past many years of dealing with ISIS, we are only now realizing that it was almost entirely Keralite women who converted from Hinduism. We're just discovering this now. So,
By the way, Oxymoron, who's a Hindutva, is also showing his Hindutva leanings by saying
he's shitting on Kerala.
by shitting on Kerala in the live chat, right? So you can expect that, guys. Like, Hindutva, they hate Kerala, and also there's this also a perception, sometimes reality, that by right-leaning Hindutva people in India, that the leftists kind of encourage and promote Muslims and make excuses for their crimes there, right?
Islamist leftism.
Islamist leftism, yeah. Which is sometimes true, but not to the point that, not to the extreme levels that Hindutva tell you, right? So there's always like some grains of truth mixed with like a ton of bullshit, right?
Yeah. There's also like there's a lot of communism in Kerala, which is pretty interesting. But anyways, so the way that they got this 32,000 number, I actually looked into this. So basically the director of this movie pulled it from the fact that many years ago, like the chief minister at the state at the time mentioned once that like something like 2,600 girls convert to Hinduism like in 2006. And so he's like, oh, okay, if that's the annual number, then extrapolate that over 10 years, it would be like 32,000. But there's so much that's wrong about this on so many different levels. One, even if we take what he was referring to, that statistic was just about women that convert to Islam, not women who convert to Islam and join ISIS. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing for a lot of Hindus, but that's the same. You join Islam, I guess you're ISIS now.
And now you're going to go leave the country and go travel to ISIS. Like, what? Okay.
Syria, yeah.
Okay,
as
so
every Muslim does. As every Muslim does.
That's point one about why this is BS. Point two is that if you go back and look at what that quote was at the time, that person, that government official, is simply saying that happened during that year. He's not saying that this is an annual figure. So it doesn't even work either way. And the funniest thing is, to me, is that people who have analyzed ISIS actually say that, so overall, there are roughly about only 200 known Indians who left the country to go fight and join ISIS. And the vast majority of ISIS fighters being from, I think, like Saudi Arabia, like Chechnya, a few other regions that I can't quite remember off the top of my head. So what's so interesting, though, is, okay, so of the percentage that we know came from Kerala, it was like maybe 20-25%. But with these 200 people that did go join ISIS, when you think about the total population of India and the total population of Muslims in India, which is more than the populations of several countries combined, just from this religious minority, the fact that only 200 joined ISIS actually shocks analysts. Analysts ask the question, why didn't more join? Because there's something different about Indian Muslims, clearly.
So proportionally, less Muslims from India join ISIS than other Islamic countries. So Indian Muslims are relatively more progressive than Muslims in other countries. That's what you're saying.
I wouldn't. Okay, progressive seems like a strong word.
Relatively.
Yeah. Where there's like different things going on. Like, I don't know, people in India will talk about how like the idea of shirk isn't as big of a deal depending on what area you're in, because of obviously the cultural closeness to Hinduism and stuff like this. So there is different stuff. And obviously a lot of Islamic extremism does happen in India. I mean, just like look at Kashmir, okay, especially in the 90s, Jesus. And then also the recent beheading that happened of the guy who supported Nupur Sharma, because of the blasphemy, blah, blah, blah. So these incidents do happen. But what I find so interesting is that people actually ask the question of like, what is India doing differently that they didn't have more people join? I'd never thought about it like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. Maybe the fact that they're a minority rather than a majority of the country makes a difference. Harris Sultan is in the live chat. Harris Sultan is saying, "Hi, Harris. 53 people watching, yet only 33 likes. Come on, guys, hit the like button." Yes, guys, people, hitting the like button doesn't cost you anything, and it helps the channel grow. So please consider hitting the like button. It really helps us out. Again, this is the kind of stuff that you don't see other places cover. So, most other places don't cover. So if you're interested in news coverage like this, yeah.
Horace is saying they are. I think referring to me saying that there's something different. They are. There was a Pew survey on Indian Muslims last year. I was shocked to see the results. You guys should cover it. They are far less Islamic than Pakistanis. I mean, that's not surprising. Kashmiri Muslims are an exception. Also true. I think I know what survey you're talking about, Horace. Like they asked, it was a survey of Indian religiosity in general. And they asked a question where they asked Indian Muslims if they believe in more than one God or something. And some actually said yes, but they still said that they were Muslim. Some I can't remember.
That was a different. I think Harris is referring to the one that was telling people if they believe in corporal punishments, if they believe that the death penalty for apostates, relatively Indians.
No, but that didn't come out last year.
Oh yeah, okay.
This one that I'm talking about came out more recently, but I think I'm getting the details wrong. But Horace, please send that to me if you still have it. Okay, and he's agreeing. I am thinking about the right one. Awesome, thank you. Wait, but can in the
20%? Look at this. Something like 20% of Muslims didn't even believe in an afterlife. What the hell? I mean, I don't want to takfir anybody. But I'm going to takfir 20% of Muslims in India. Like, probably, like, they just takfir themselves. Like, you're not really, like, guys, this is not believing in afterlife puts you out of the fold of Islam, doesn't it? They're not even Muslim anymore. If you don't believe in afterlife. I don't know.
I mean, if you think, is that a central tenet that falls outside the creed of Islam? Because, like, in Catholicism, like the Nicene Creed lays out very clearly the prerequisites to being a Catholic. You have to believe in the resurrection of Christ, that Jesus is the one and only Son of God, who's come back to save us, and we can only find salvation through. There's many different levels of criteria to fit the qualification of being a Catholic and holding that belief.
Okay,
that it doesn't.
Yep.
Like, if you take the Shahada, it's just like, oh, Allah is the only God and Muhammad is his prophet. Like.
Well, I mean, I would consider you a Muslim if you say take the Shahada and believe in Muhammad and believe in the Quran, okay? But based on many as Muslim scholars, you have to believe in the 7 articles of faith to be a Muslim. And one of the articles of faith is belief in the afterlife. So based on most mainstream Islamic scholars, if you don't believe in afterlife, I mean, I will still call you a Muslim, but based on mainstream Islam, you are now out of the fold of Islam, and you are no longer a Muslim if you don't believe in afterlife. You have to believe in angels. You have to believe in afterlife. Anyways, like it's a whole thing.
Well, thank you for clarifying that for me who don't know these things. Wait, if you scroll down, I just want to watch a little bit of the trailer because it's one of the most overdramatic things I've ever seen.
Okay, wait.
No.
But I want to read this comment first about liking. Doorknob is saying, good point. Even if you hate watch, you should upvote to continue to get this sweet news. Yes, if you don't like us, if you don't like me and Susie, but you enjoy hating us while watching, okay, keep us running by liking this video or disliking. Yeah, you could dislike as well. Anyways, let me play.
No, don't. I don't want to play the Al Jazeera one because it's not as good. If you scroll down, I think we have another.
Also, Hindutva will get, but whenever we do Al Jazeera, a whole bunch of
I know. I don't like the way that Al Jazeera covered it, actually. But that's a different story.
Hold on, let me do full screen. How do I do full screen? I have to watch it on Twitter to do full screen. It's so stupid.
It's so dramatic.
Okay. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be good, guys.
Yeah,
You have
there's
the
some
idea, right?
subtitles. Okay. We're not gonna translate the subtitles, but like just listen to the emotion in her voice. It tells you everything you need to know.
Okay.
मेरा नाम शालिनी उन्नी कृष्णन था। मैं नर्स बन के
Taking
लोगों
off
को
the
सर्व
burqa.
करना चाहती थी। अब मैं फातिमा बा हूँ, एक आईसिस टेररिस्ट इन अफगानिस्तान जेल। और मैं अकेली नहीं हूँ। मेरे जैसे 32,000 गर्ल्स कन्वर्ट होके सीरिया और यमन की रेगिस्तान में दफन हो चुकी है।
32,000 and we're just hearing about it now?
सबसे डेंजरस खेल चल रहा है केरला में, और वो भी खुलेआम। क्या कोई नहीं रोकेगा इसे? ये है मेरी कहानी। ये है उन 32,000 लड़कियों की कहानी। This is the Kerala story.
32. I can't believe they're saying that with a straight face.
Okay, right now in my mind, I'm running an alternative universe where like actually ISIS was Indian convert women this whole time.
Maybe it's a comedy.
Like, what if this whole time it actually was true? Out of the 40,000, it actually was. Oh my god.
Doorknob has like, emotional damage. Why did they come up with numbers so big that nobody believes? Like, if you want to do propaganda, like do a number that is like, people are like, really that high? But at least they could see themselves believing in it. What would be enough if you wanted to do propaganda like this, right? I would say like, I don't know, 2,000, which is ridiculously high.
Below 5,000.
But people are like, yeah, definitely be like, I would lie. If I wanted to lie, I would
But in a country as big as India, like actually several thousand is more believable proportionally. But this is just insane.
Maybe when they were counting ISIS members, which went to up to 40K only, maybe they weren't counting the women. Maybe they were like just counting the men.
No, the funny thing is that so this film is like now getting into legal trouble. Like there are people trying to get the film board to not show it, and trying to not have it propagated, and there are actual government ministers coming out and saying that this is going to spread hate and that this isn't what our state is for, so stop putting this on us and blah blah blah. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes forward. But if it does come out, Armin and I are going to watch this, because our impression of the Kashmir Files, like watching the Kashmir Files with Armin, was one of the funniest things I've ever done. Within the first 15 minutes, just the cold open of the movie was the most nonsensical thing I've ever seen. We hadn't even finished the cold open, and Armin's like, there's so many plot holes, I've already given up.
It was so bad.
Like less than 15 minutes. It was insane.
It was so bad. Yeah. Anyways. Okay.
Even it was just like a bad movie. It was horrible. It was just a bad movie.
It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
It was so hard to keep watching. It's so long.
I was like face palming the entire time.
Every time. Are we gonna keep watching this? He's like, yeah, I guess so. It was like painful.
Every time I thought this movie is like ridiculous, then something happened. I was like, what the F? Anyways, we should move on. By the way, I didn't know I should say that. I'll let you know after this. Okay. Can I clap for the next news?
Sure.
Next news.
Malaysian police raid LGBT Halloween party for encouraging vice. On October 29th, Malaysia's Islamic religious authorities raided a Halloween party attended by members of the LGBT community. Around 20 people were arrested for allegedly violating Sharia law. The Halloween gathering was held at a venue called Rexall in Kuala Lumpur. The Federal Territory's Islamic Religious Department interrogated the detained individuals. Numan Afifi, a Malaysian LGBT activist who attended the gathering, was among those arrested. Numan stated, quote, around 40 religious officers backed by the police came into the venue with some 1,000 participants and they stopped the music and dance. He further explained that the Muslim participants were separated from the non-Muslims, and the religious police then identified anyone who did not dress according to their assumed sex. Malaysia uses a dual-track justice system where Sharia laws run alongside civil laws. Homosexuality is still illegal in this Southeast Asian country, where openly LGBT community members are imprisoned. Nevertheless, while same-sex acts can result in fines and penalties, they are rarely enforced. Support for gay rights is also low in Malaysia, with about 65% of Malaysians opposing any recognition for same-sex couples and only 16% supporting same-sex marriage. So this is wild, and I think this might be one of the few instances in a Muslim-majority country that has some integration of Islamic law that being a non-Muslim is actually to your benefit. Because they separated the Muslims from the non-Muslims, and then it was the Muslims that they went after for cross-dressing and encouraging vice.
Yeah, if you're non-Muslim, you could do whatever. You can like not follow Islamic laws, but Muslims have to. By the way, in Malaysia, Muslim is an ethnicity.
Wait, what?
Right? I mean, they decide if you're a Muslim or not based on your ethnicity, not based on, and you can't, if you're Malay, you're Muslim. If you're Chinese, you're not Muslim.
Oh, wow.
And you can't be a Malay ex-Muslim. You can't be like, wait, I'm not Muslim. No, you're like, no, you're not an ex-Muslim, you're Muslim. They treat you legally like you're Muslim. You can't just like be like, hey, I left Islam.
It's on your identification cards, right?
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's on your identification card. I just know that if you are Malay, you're Muslim, because we discovered that when they came after our Atheist Republic members in Kuala Lumpur, they were treated like Muslims who were doing atheist Muslims. They were like, what are you talking about? Right? Like Muslims who joined an atheist group or something, they were being harsh on them because they were Muslim, according to the government. They were like, they're not Muslim, they're part of an atheist group. But anyways, they treat them harsh. Yeah.
That makes sense though, because according to Sharia law, if you're quote unquote born a Muslim, then you apostatize. Sharia law is still applicable to you.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a religion in Malaysia. You cannot not have any religion, but they apparently decide that you're a Muslim for you if you are Malay. So in Malaysia, I think like when they talk about you being a Muslim, they're not just referring to your religion, they're also referring to your ethnicity. I mean, I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody's in Malaysia, I'm assuming that's how they separated Muslims from non-Muslims. When they say they separated Muslims from non-Muslims, I think what they actually mean is that they separated the Malay from the Chinese. Or like
that's very interesting. I hadn't considered that. I like how Ion calls it default settings.
Yeah, your Muslim is default setting.
And it's pretty wild because this happened at a Halloween party, right? So like people are going to be dressed up. And so that contributed to people getting called out for like, oh, you're cross-dressing and you're encouraging vice, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm just wearing a costume, bro. There were some reports that people got arrested for simply wearing, like men who were just wearing earrings. And there were like people who came in, they're like, are you serious? Come on. Like you can wear earrings in like a very masculine way. That's actually like how masculinity is presented in many cultures and countries. Like it's just earrings, dude.
We actually have people from Malaysia in the live chat. Selva's saying, yeah, Malay is Muslims, Chinese and Tamil or not. Okay, so it's not just Chinese, it's Chinese and Tamil who would be considered non-Muslim. So I think they would be Buddhist or Hindu or Christian or Chinese religion
I know that they like recognize a select number
Confucianist.
of religions.
Yeah, Confucianist, I think, is one of them, which you have to. Yeah. By the way, for people who don't know, when we Atheist Republic went viral, the news, our Atheist Republic members, like the government was after them in Malaysia a couple of years ago, and it got so bad.
They were going to hunt down
Atheist Republic
members in Malaysia.
Yeah, a Malaysian minister officially came out and said that we're going to hunt down these people. The BBC was covering it, the Independent was covering it, many media outlets were covering it, and it also got to the point where it was brought up by Robin Blumner, at that time the CEO of Richard Dawkins Foundation, at the United Nations Security Council. Was it the council? One of the councils, right? So that's what the first time an atheist issue was brought up at the United Nations. It was insane, yeah. But the government, I have clips of the government asking one of the members of parliament or whatever, deputy minister, I don't know who, was asking if they could ban Facebook in Malaysia because of us. Because of Atheist Republic. They wanted to ban the entirety of Facebook in Malaysia because of Atheist Republic.
People can't see Atheist Republic.
And the guy, like, I don't know who was sitting at the chair. The chair was like, we can't do that. And then, like, no, that's not possible.
This is so typical of our organization. Like, troublemakers since day one.
Yeah, so guys, for people who are Indians who are new here, before we were at war with the Indians government, we were at war with Malaysia's government. So we have that
can never catch a break.
Yeah, that was like predates the whole mess that we have. Like it was a big deal back then. It was even a bigger deal than the Sexy Cali stuff.
I mean, it was certainly like a lot more imminently dangerous.
Yeah, because it was a bigger deal than the India stuff, because with the India stuff, we just lost our Twitter account, and like that was the end result. With the Malaysia stuff, they were like looking for people in the streets by the government. Like that was a whole mess. Oh my God. Malaysia, by the way, is recognized by many people, including Reza Aslan, as a moderate Islamic country. So just to recognize, like, this is what the best that you could get from a moderate Islamic country. Imagine.
Oh, and we'll be covering what other good things you can get from a moderate Islamic country in the next news as well. Oxymoron is saying, how old is the Atheist Republic? Atheist Republic has been a registered nonprofit entity in Canada since 2012. So 10 years officially, but actually Armin founded it while he was still living inside Iran many years before then. So maybe as many as like technically like 15 years, but the Facebook page, which really like became the central part of the community, then created the offshoots, is like 10 years. I understand we are at war, but at what cost? You're not kidding.
We have to go. So, we have to pick another East Asian country next to go after. But yeah.
I also just want to give a special shout out and hello to our lovely writer, and who I consider the behind the scenes third host of the show. So hi Dee, I hope you're having a good day. Oxymoron insane. Assalamu alaikum Dee.
By the way, just for the record, I agree in this sense on this case with the Malaysian government. I think they should have gone harsher. Halloween is officially shirk. Okay? So I don't know why they were.
Okay, Islamically, you have a point.
I don't know why they were going after people's earrings. The entire Halloween thing is like against the fundamentals of Islam. Okay, you're basically it's a tradition that it's about talking to the dead and raising the dead and having the connection, the barriers between the living and the dead to be so narrow that you could make a bridge between them. Okay, this and calling out the dead is shirky. It's very shirky. Okay, so I don't know why you think like talking to people, talking about people's earrings. Like, what are you talking about? This whole festival is an un-Islamic event. This is why a lot of Muslims are pissed at Saudi Arabia for having its Halloween event, which, I'm sorry, not Halloween. It's Autumn Festival, which you get to dress up as scary monsters and stuff like that. But it's not Halloween, as they say
Very
it's not.
convenient.
Yeah, it just happens to happen at the same time as Halloween. They don't call it Halloween, but you get to dress up as different things. It's scary things, but they're telling Muslims that we promise this is not Halloween. And nobody's believing it because they know. But they are getting in trouble. A lot of Muslims around the world are angry that in the land of the Prophet, we're being shirky. We're being shirky in the land of the Prophet. Anyways, all right. Can we clap for the next news?
I mean, in comparison to everything else, yes.
Okay, nobody was murdered or molested or tortured, so we're clapping. We don't like this, but that's our standard. Next news.
Arrested for insulting Islam, Moroccan woman begins hunger strike. Fatima Karim, a 39-year-old blogger, was detained by Moroccan police in July for, quote, attacking the Islamic religion via electronic means after posting satirical comments about Islam and the Quran on Facebook. Karim describes herself as, quote, secular and advocates for the separation of state and religion. She was sentenced to 2 years in prison on August 15th. Her family reported to local media that she began a hunger strike in late October to protest against the heavy sentencing. During her trial, Karim defended her statements, saying that they were within the bounds of free expression. However, she also apologized to those who, quote, felt offended. Article 267-5 of Morocco's penal code allows those who are guilty of insulting Islam to be imprisoned for 2 years, with the possibility of the sentence being increased to 5 years if the offense was committed publicly, which includes electronic means and the use of social media.
By the way, this is Morocco, another country that's supposed to be moderate in their Islam. So there you go. But what did she do? Did she do something with the flying spaghetti monster? Is she wearing noodles?
Oh my God, Armin, that's just her hair.
Oh, okay. I thought she was like... I thought she was acting like she...
Oh my God.
That is her hair?
Yeah, it's like braided very tightly and bleached.
I thought she was acting like she belongs to the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Oh my God. Okay. Anyways.
So what did she do then?
So it's not, I haven't been able to find a copy of the post, but she appears, so I found one, wait, let me pull it up. I found one source that described what she did as like sarcastic comments about Islam. Yeah, Moroccan blogger sentenced for attacking Islam through online sarcasm. And by sharing sarcastic comments on the verses of the Quran and Hadiths of the Prophet Muhammad. And that was pretty much the only description I could find of what she did. But I can't actually find copies of what she said that was so offensive. But we've seen before, so this happened very recently. Within the past 2 years, there was a Moroccan Italian woman who was sentenced to 2 years in prison because when she was in Italy, she posted, like a satirical version of the Quran. And I think it might have been the Surah Corona, which became very famous during the pandemic. And then she was an Italian woman of Moroccan ancestry, and then she was visiting Morocco. And then when she was visiting Morocco, she was arrested for making these satirical posts when she was in Italy. And she was sentenced to 2 years, and she had to spend a few months in prison or jail, in detention until human rights defenders and basically the Italian government pulled her out. And like, thank God she was a dual citizen, because the Italian government, like, you know, really twisted the arm of the Moroccans to get her out of there. She was like, I remember an interview with her dad talking about how traumatized she was by the whole experience. But unfortunately, like, this woman doesn't have a foreign government to advocate
So
for
what's
her.
going to happen to her?
Well, when this news first came out in the beginning of November, she had already been doing her hunger strike for 13 days. And her family was expressing their concern about her health. And I haven't really found an update about what happened since then. But she was undertaking this hunger strike because she was sentenced to 2 years in prison. So it was her way of protesting that she got such a heavy sentence.
Okay. People are telling me saying that it should be banned. Ayan is saying ban Armin. Harris Sultan is saying cancel Armin. I don't know what to call this.
True.
Hasta la vista, Armin. 2 years. Is there anything? Is there any human rights group or anything that could was focusing on this or no?
Not to my knowledge. I found out about this through the Moroccan atheist activist. How do you pronounce her name? Betty Lachar, who we
How
met
do you
at
find
Celebrating
these things?
Dissent.
Like nobody's covering these things. I mean, it's amazing that you find these things, Susanna. Thank you so much for that.
Well, that's why stuff like Celebrating Dissent is so important, because now I've connected and networked with all these other activists, and I found out about this through a feminist atheist Moroccan activist who sends it to like our group chat that we have. So
this is what we're here for. Thank you,
yes.
Susanna. Thank you.
Exactly.
Amazing. Okay.
Oh, this next story is so wild.
Oh, really? Okay, now I'm
Yeah.
excited. Can we clap for it?
Yeah, we can clap because this is just like nonsense.
Next news.
Next news. Turkish minister calls LGBT rights terrorist propaganda. I love stuff like this. It makes me laugh super hard. Okay. On November 12th, Turkey's Interior Minister Süleyman Soylu described LGBT rights as quote unquote terrorist propaganda in a speech to members of the ruling Justice and Development Party, also known as AKP. There is cultural terrorism. The propaganda of the terrorist organization, which tries to make people forget their values, their religion, unity, parental love, and familial loyalty. It is exactly Europe's policy, exactly America's policy of divide and rule. So Soylu said in a speech. In terms of protecting LGBT rights, he said they are trying to create a policy based on an understanding that will alter almost all of our values so that they can win the hearts of the Europeans in the West. Soylu has been known for attacking the LGBT community. Last year, Twitter flagged him for hateful speech when he tweeted about 4 LGBT perverts that were detained for inciting hatred. In reality, these were students who were protesting against homophobic administrators at their university. But they did it in a blasphemous way, and this is, the perverts and the hatred, blah, blah, blah. Alongside Soylu, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has also supported constitutional amendments to protect families from quote-unquote perverse LGBT trends in the country. Thousands of protesters also took part in an anti-LGBT demonstration on September 18th, urging the government to ban what they say is LGBT propaganda. The Associated Press described the march as the largest anti-LGBT protest in Turkey.
He's gay.
I'm
Wanna
sorry,
bet?
I wasn't expecting that.
I'm almost sure. Guys, put your bets. I think he's gay. Sorry.
Oh my god. Yeah. Okay, well, that's a different story. I thought this was really interesting. I think, what I thought was this Turkey seems to be going in this direction of, how Russia and Hungary have these policies and laws against LGBT propaganda, and how they use this to criminalize basically any rainbow flags anywhere, any mention that gay people exist, any education on the topic whatsoever. This is now harmful LGBT propaganda that is going to take your children from you and all this stuff. And in Russia, it's gotten extremely dangerous for the LGBT community because gay men in particular will, because of the rhetoric coming out about it surrounding this propaganda, gay men will be assaulted and R-worded by other straight men basically as punishment for, you know, the propaganda they're spreading throughout the country. Like, it's really, really violent. And unfortunately, it seems like Turkey is picking up a similar tone, of a similar flavor of how they want to start talking about this LGBT propaganda. And apparently the ruling party is considering some constitutional amendments. And this includes, you know, protection from perverse LGBT trends, and also includes protecting the right to wear the hijab, which kind of surprised me. Armin, you're more knowledgeable than I am in this subject. Like, has the hijab ever been illegal in Turkey, like under Ataturk or anything?
Yeah, I mean, it was banned in universities, and, you know, some government institutions and stuff. I think I remember, but I think some schools and universities and stuff, which is weird for an Islamic country. I think it's a bit overkill to put, like, it's one thing for France to say like no hijab in universities, but for a majority Muslim country to say like no hijab in universities, that's like, yeesh, that's a little bit overkill. So
yeah. Like this, the supported constitutional amendments include introducing the right to wear headscarves and measures tackling family issues in Turkey, citing, quote, the family consists of the union of man and woman.
Okay,
that was just interesting to me because I was like, the right to wear headscarves. I wonder, I wasn't sure about how much that was actually a problem.
Yeah, with a constitutional principle of official secularism, the Turkish government has traditionally banned women who wear headscarves from working in the public sector. Turkey is weird. Turkey is like a mix of extreme secularism and mix of extreme Islamism and everything in between.
It's very confusing.
Like, it's very confusing. You have a country was like, Islamically saying that LGBT is terrorist propaganda, but also has a history of banning hijab in government places. Like, it's just,
and Turkey used to be one of the most, I mean, previously it used to be way more LGBT friendly than a lot of other countries in the region.
Yeah,
and
because
now it's going hard against the opposite direction.
Okay, is it just the government that, like, so we went from Ataturk to going from forced secularization, as Zagros is pointing out in live chat, to now going through Erdogan, which is like the Islamization of the government. However, what about the people? So I know Ataturk represents extreme forced secularism, and Erdogan now represents extreme Islamization of the government. But the people themselves, are we seeing a shift back to Islamism or shift towards secularism?
I know amongst Turkey's youth, amongst the younger generations, they are having a huge backlash. Well, maybe not huge, but they are having a significant backlash to the forced Islamization of Turkey. There's been lots of polls on it. The young people are not, they're not playing with it. They don't like it. I don't know about the older generations though. And let me see, look for a moment.
So just like the forced secularism backfired and caused a resurgence of Islam in Turkey, that means that we're saying an Islamization of Turkey's government is now causing another backlash towards secularism by the young people.
So okay, here's according to 2020 Pew Research, 25% of Turks said homosexuality should be accepted by society, with 57% opposing it. The acceptance was higher among educated people at 41% and young Turks at 34%. So even amongst the population, there's not a lot of support.
No. So the main thing you have to look at is not the level, it's the trend. Okay? So you're saying there's 25% acceptance. So what we have to see is not like, oh, people like 25% is high or low. What we're interested in is to see what was before. Like, was it
Okay.
Are
In
we-
in terms of a trend, here we go. According to a survey conducted by Kadir Has University in Istanbul in 2016, 33% of people said that LGBT people should have equal rights. This increased to 45% in 2020.
Oh, nice. So trend is in our favor, at least with the new
And
people.
there was a poll in 2018 that said that 55% do not want to have a homosexual neighbor, but this decreased the next year to 46%.
Oh, okay. So trend is in our side. Okay. By the way, guys, you have to look at the same polls, because if you're like, oh, this poll said 55% at that year, and this other poll said like 45% in a different year, you can't compare that, because you have to because the methodology could be different. If you want to see if how the trend works, you have to focus. We have to stay with the same poll, with the same questions and the same methodology to see if the numbers are going up or down. So Zagros is saying the Islamization of the Turkish government and military has been going on since the coups of the 80s. Yes, it was slow infiltration that first manifested with AKP, then accumulated with the attempted coup. Yes, however, that's the government. The people the peoples of Turkey seem to be going in the other direction, which is good. Hopefully, they will become more politically active. Okay, we have to go. We have to go to the next news. We have to move on.
Oops. Okay. So, oh boy, this is going to get spicy.
Clappy.
Yeah, sure.
Clappy.
I just know that people, some people in our audience are going to have a reaction to this. I'm excited.
Okay. All right then. Next news.
Next news. India blasted for religious discrimination at the United Nations. Recently, UN member states advised India to take a stronger stance on sexual violence and religious discrimination during a Universal Periodic Review, or UPR, of New Delhi's human rights record at the United Nations Human Rights Council, or UNHCR. The UPR, which is this periodic review, conducted every 4 years, evaluates member states' human rights record. Any member state may question the state being reviewed and offer suggestions. So this is like part of a routine thing that different member states have to go through on different years. Member states urged New Delhi to limit the scope of its anti-terror laws. A person can be labeled a, quote, terrorist based on a suspicion under these laws. American diplomat Michelle Taylor, the current United States ambassador to the United Nations Human Rights Council, said, quote, we recommend that India reduce the broad application of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, known as UAPA, and similar laws against human rights activists, journalists, and religious minorities. The law has drawn flack for targeting members of minority and rights groups, and for having a low conviction rate. Many countries praised India for putting some of the recommendations made during the last UPR, which was held in 2017. However, others were quick to raise concerns as this stance on minority rights, freedom of expression, and violence against women has worsened. Canada asked India to investigate religious violence, including the cases of the Muslim community, to protect the freedom of religion and stop sexual violence. The Secretary of the Foreign Ministry of India, Sanjay Verma, said that the suggestions would be taken to New Delhi for consideration. Although New Delhi has signed the United Nations Convention Against Torture treaty, it still has not ratified it, which was another point of contention at the review session.
Okay, let's take this positively. They took it like they were like, we considered it before and we made some changes, and now we're going to consider this. So it's not like China, who's like, how dare you speak about our ways, these foreign countries meddling in our country, mind your own business. Like this, like they didn't do the Chinese thing. They were like the CCP thing, okay? They were like, okay, well, sure, we'll take it.
There was a little bit of defensiveness. There was a
Okay.
little bit of defensiveness, but not nearly as much as I expected. Because in last April, the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom, which is a bipartisan non-policy making arm of the State Department, which monitors situations around the world. They put out a report that's very significant. And in it, last April, they said that India is a country of very particular concern, which is kind of like their red level rating, and had all these recommendations about how things are getting worse there, blah, blah, blah. And the Indian government had a very strong reaction to the findings of this report and was much more defensive, came out much more boldly. So I was actually surprised that like the reaction wasn't as strong in this situation when the stakes are a lot higher. I don't really know why. Maybe not the stakes are higher, but the stage is bigger.
I think there needs to be a congratulations, like a major. I think there's too much of a stick approach. Okay, when it comes to human rights violation and like pressure, there's not enough a carrot approach. You know what I mean? Like we hear like, oh, they were condemned, they were like pressured, they were like spoken against. We don't hear much about they were congratulated. They were like encouraged. Like we don't make it a big deal because people like bad news, right? So like I didn't hear about India previously taking these recommendations and doing something positive. We didn't hear about that because negative news sells. But it should have like people should have been like there needs to be clapping. There needs to be like politicians noticing that there seems to be positive political capital in taking positive steps, especially on human rights issues. Like they need to be like, okay, we're getting a lot of credit for doing something positive. Like the people seems to be, it seems to have been having a positive effect, so that you encourage them to do that more. But I think we're quick to condemn, but not that quick to congratulate. You know what I mean? So I think like we should. Yeah.
Point taken. Point taken.
Yeah.
You know what? You're right.
Yes. So let's congratulate India for taking this very well and taking it seriously and considering it. Good job, India. Yeah.
Slow clap.
No, this is it's slow clap, but it's not a sarcastic clap. This is actually we're being genuine, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, good stuff. So hopefully they take a look at this and maybe they make some positive changes. Let's be here next time when they review all of these to see if they're actually to congratulate India if they make any good changes on any of these, even a single one of these. Yeah. All right. Learn from this, CCP. Okay, you don't have to keep shouting at everybody who tells you that maybe you're doing something wrong. This whole
we hit a nerve with Oxymoron because I haven't heard him talk like this for a while. He's like, different things. This was a review protocol India agreed to upon. This was a review India agreed upon as part of UN protocol. It doesn't give a damn about inferior countries like the USA. Damn.
Oh my
Someone
God.
got hurt.
You hit a nerve. Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
Oh, shit.
Oh, okay.
My bad, man. Oh my God.
All right. That's okay. Yeah. India is better than US. Okay. Sure. You want to hear that? Okay. Like let's give him something. It's not, by the way.
He said it was a joke, but also true. I knew it. Yeah, it's a joke, but not really a joke.
Not really a joke. Okay. Oxymoron really hates the US. Can we clap for the USA? By the way, for India is a better country because of the USA. Like none of these countries that you guys keep being proud of would have been able to do any of the thing it does if it wasn't the standards and the norms and the stability the United States has introduced to the world has made your countries better. All the technology that India has and China has and Iran has is because of the contribution the United States has made to the world. So you need to be more thankful to the United States. And it has a lot of its faults, but there's also that.
I love when Armin starts his American hegemon shill talk. No kidding.
I
I'm
do
just
that
here to show for the liberal world order.
no, whenever somebody attacks the U.S., I remind them of all the crimes committed by the USA. But whenever somebody attacks the United States, I do the opposite. I remind them of all the great things that we are indebted to to the United States. All right, can we clap for the next news?
Yeah, I mean, the title sounds bad, but it actually didn't turn out that bad.
Okay. Next news.
Next news, Indian police arrest mentally ill Muslim man for burning the Quran. On November 2nd, 4 copies of the Quran were discovered burnt in a mosque, sparking protests in Shahjahanpur town of the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. The following day, one man was detained by police in connection with the case. He was identified as a Muslim man who claimed that he was mentally sick. After reviewing numerous CCTV tapes, Ramit Sharma, Inspector General of Police of Barelvi Range, informed the media that the perpetrator had been identified as Taj Muhammad. When asked about the Quran during his interview, he said, "It's not me, but my soul has burnt it." Hundreds gathered near the mosque to condemn the blasphemous act as the news spread throughout the city. Some angry Muslims allegedly set fire to banners and staged a protest demanding the arrest of the person responsible. Some of them screamed slogans against the police administration and accused the authorities of being slow to respond to their complaints and arriving at the scene. There were also reports of stone pelting in the vicinity. SP Anand said that the criminals who caused the commotion in the town would be identified and quote-unquote stern action would be taken against them.
Wait, so which criminals? The people who are like stoning and burning stuff down? Like not this guy, right? This guy is going to be let free?
I don't know if he'll be let free. I know that he was arrested. I mean, because this does fit within numerous like violations of the Indian Penal Code.
But he's mentally ill, and this is India. It's not Pakistan. They should let him go. Like,
True, he claims to be mentally ill. We'll see. I don't know. I really don't know what the standards are, about because in America, like there's a very specific threshold for being held not responsible, not liable for the actions you take because of mental incompetency. I don't know what that standard or threshold is in India.
Wait, so you said this news turned out okay. Which part of it turned out okay? I was waiting for a positive spin on the end.
I mean, there's not a positive spin in it. I just mean the sense that like we're used to this ending in, I mean, especially if we compare this to Pakistan. I mean, this could set this could set the entire town on fire. Like I'm like, okay, some people set a few things on fire. There's stone pelting that got respect.
Muslim guy. Yeah, I don't. I mean. Yeah. What do you think would happen to him if Muslims in India got their hands over it? I don't think he would die. Do you think he would die? I bet he would die in Pakistan, but I don't think he would die. Yeah, okay, but I don't think he would die in India. Can you correct guys in the live chat? Can you tell me if the Muslims in India, would you be as scared for this man's life as you would be in Pakistan? I think he would be like maybe beaten up a little bit and then handed over to police or something, but not killed.
I don't know because like there's a lot of mob violence that happens in India in general, like even outside of religious lines or religious colorings to it. So, I mean, but if you compare it to Pakistan, of course it's going to be better than Pakistan.
Yeah, everywhere is better than Pakistan. But okay, so Oxymoron, who's Hindutva, is agreeing with me. Okay, so he's saying they will let him go. So guys, this is coming from Hindutva, not some pro-Muslim shill or something, right? So he said they will let him go if they keep him in, if they wish to protect. They would keep him in the prison if they are wishing to protect him. And people are saying no and yep. So people are agreeing or disagreeing with me, I think.
Yeah.
So I think he didn't insult the Prophet, probably.
Okay, but that's actually, I don't know if I agree with that just because he didn't insult the Prophet. The probability of being killed is less. I mean, he burned the Quran. Isn't that worse?
No, insulting the Prophet. I agree with Bengali Hindu. Insulting the Prophet is worse. Because the Prophet is just so dear to their hearts. They love him so much, more than their own mothers. That's what they say. It's a person, so you're emotionally are more attached to a person than a book. I mean, the book burning is pretty bad. Don't get me wrong. The Quran burning is like really, really horrible. But prophet is like something else. Unless they're Shia, and if you're Shia, you don't give a crap about the prophet. It's Hussein and Zainab and Ali all the way. They don't admit that, by the way. If a Shia was here, they would be like, "No, Armin, it's not true. We love the prophet." I'm like, you don't care about the prophet. You don't even care about Allah as a Shia.
Damn. Okay.
No, I'm saying like this is
No, I know
not an
you're serious. It's
exaggeration.
just a funny
Guys,
detour.
I'm not exaggerating. If you're a Shia Muslim, you are pretending to care about Allah. You don't care about Allah. You don't care about Muhammad. Okay. All you pray. You every time you're praying sincerely. You invoke Ali, Hussein, or Zainab. And if I insult Muhammad in front of you, you wouldn't be nearly as butthurt as you would be if I was like, saying something about Fatima or Hussein or Ali. Not even close. And people know this. People like Shias know this is true. Okay. Anyways, why did we end on this detour? Anyways, I hope this guy survives. I hope, why did he burn the Quran? Just for a little
Well, he
detail
said
thing?
that he didn't burn it; his soul burnt it. It's
Okay,
not
okay.
entirely clear,
Not entirely clear.
but he did it inside of a mosque.
And he's Muslim.
Or and a lot of times in Indian media, when they say someone is Muslim, they just mean they come from a Muslim background. They have a Muslim name. So we know that he comes from a Muslim background. Like, is he a real ass practicing Muslim? I don't know. More of a cultural Muslim, maybe.
He could be an ex-Muslim that is trying to find a way to survive. An ex-Muslim who really hates the Islam and is burning a Quran inside of a mosque because he hates this crap, or he's just actually mentally ill. We don't know.
Pretty wild.
We can't. Yeah, pretty crazy.
I know it's a lot harder to be.
Go on.
I know it's a lot harder to be an ex-Muslim in the northern parts of India. Like, what Indian ex-Muslims tell me is that the reason why we're seeing such an explosion of apostasy in South India is because it is a lot safer to come out against Islam in those areas. So that's why we see so much more people coming out and being publicly ex-Muslim in those areas, which I thought was very interesting.
Imagine if he's not mentally ill. If he's not mentally ill, then imagine being an ex-Muslim in India and taking a Quran to a mosque and burning it. This man then has balls of steel, if that's what he did. If he's not mentally ill.
4 of them. It wasn't just one. Yeah, some reports say he burnt 4.
4? You're like, I'm not done yet. I have more copies. Shit. Sorry. Before you arrest me, I have 2 more copies to finish.
Excuse me, sir. I'm not done yet.
Okay. Can we clap for the next news?
Yeah, this is an interesting little story.
Oh, it's clappable news today. A lot of them. That's nice. Next news.
Bus drivers' refusal to stop for Muslim prayers sparks outrage in Turkey. Recently, a Turkish travel firm, Oz Airsis, came under fire when one of their bus drivers refused to stop the vehicle so that a passenger could complete his daily Muslim prayers. The bus was traveling from the Van region near the Iranian border to the city of Izmir, taking over 24 hours. The company responded to the man's complaint on Twitter, saying, quote, "None of the rights defined by Turkey's constitution can be used to violate the democratic and secular conception of the republic." The reply went viral and sparked a backlash. According to the travel firm's lawyer, Tunke Kesersi, quote, "It is not possible to ignore the rights of other passengers who do not want to pray and who want to arrive at their destination on time for a passenger to pray." He further explained that they respect all beliefs and they feel that they are being singled out as a target. The travel firm even suggested that the passengers could wait until the bus stopped at a rest area for their prayers. The bus company's stance drew some support, while hardline Muslims vowed to boycott.
Imagine the audacity. How full of yourself must be that everybody in this bus has to wait.
The entitlement.
The entitlement. Oh my God. Fuck this guy. And they're like butthurt that this didn't happen. They're legally challenging this bus company because they didn't make everybody wait for me to finish my prayer. Are you like, I'm surprised they didn't slap you. I'm surprised that, what are you, oh my God, these people, religious entitlement is the worst kind of entitlement, I'm telling you.
It is a sickness.
It's on a different level. Oh my God, Jesus Christ, these people. But we can pray on the goddamn bus. I know it will turn and you will like, you could like, but it will be accepted. God will be like, yeah, sure, I didn't like, you were like, I couldn't do it. I was on a bus. You could just sit on your chair and go like this. There are ways they give you out their ways to like do, like on a plane, for example. How do you pray on a plane? Do the same thing on a bus. They have ways, like they have the ways out. Like they tell you like, okay, this is how you pray on a plane because you can't like, and so why don't you do the same thing on the goddamn bus?
Wait, there are special ways to pray on planes?
Yeah, you go like, you don't have to get up and like, you could just be seated. You could go like, hello, like that.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know this.
Yeah, you could do it seated. So which bothers me because I know you could do it seated if you have to. So sometimes on a plane, like the Muslims go and they block the area, like right next to the washroom, and they start praying and in the aisle, and nobody can move. I'm like, dude, I know you're allowed to do it seated if you have to. So you could have done this on your seat, but you have to just block us all for half an hour because you just couldn't do it seated.
There are people trying to pee here.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Like, I don't know if anybody has ever tried to just like jump over them. That would be amazing. But I mean, I guess the issue.
Oh my God, if I was in that situation, I would have to. Like, when you have to go, you have to go. This is not negotiable.
Yeah. Just like to bounce. But
what's so interesting is that apparently, wait, we put this in the article that we wrote. Yeah, so the firm was like, you can wait until we reach the rest station to do your prayers. And this doesn't go against tradition, quote, as the Quran specifically mentions shortening or combining prayers while traveling.
Yeah. You're being even more of a jackass than Islam itself, which is so much.
Even Muhammad was like, okay, look, we travel a lot. We migrate a lot, okay? We can't keep on stopping everyone. Our whole freaking Hajj.
Yeah.
For prayers 5 times a day, okay? We got to keep it moving across this desert. So we can do it later. It's fine.
And they did that while everybody was a Muslim. Like they were like, we're in the caravan. Everybody's a Muslim. We can't do 5 times a prayer. This guy wants to stop people who are not even praying. This guy wants to stop people who are not even Muslim. Muhammad didn't even stop the entire caravan, even though they were all Muslim. Mother, it's a big accomplishment for you to be a bigger jackass than Muhammad. Not that many people can do it, but this man has managed to accomplish this.
It's this like religious entitlement. Like people are so used to having their beliefs and practices privileged above other things that they just expect it to always be the case. And they're like, actually, no, people got shit to do, man.
Yeah.
The world doesn't revolve around you and like and your beliefs.
I think the main issue this guy might have is that the bus turns, right? And because the bus turns, if you were started in the towards the Mecca, and now all of a sudden, like in the mid prayer, now you're moving that way, and now you're not facing Mecca anymore. Okay?
Oh shoot, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, but would your prayers still be accepted? Because I know that there was a situation where there were people who calculated the direction to Mecca wrong like the entire time, and then they've discovered that it was wrong the entire time. They're like, it's fine. It was still accepted.
It would be accepted as long as you made the intention. Like, it's not like,
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to be like, I can't believe I'm defending Islam over this. Because I'm like,
Against this guy.
against this guy. Like, Islam is not as bad as this jackass. Anyways.
Oh my God.
So, apparently I can't see. All right.
For the
Bring
next
in-
news, I don't. Oh, okay, perfect. I did show the right link. Never mind.
Yes.
I was going to say. Okay.
All right. Okay. So you see this? Yeah. Can we clap
Yes.
for it?
Yes,
Okay,
we can.
Next news.
Next news. Black Friday shopping for the holidays. Support Atheist Republic. So, guys, if you are in North America in particular, if you're American, you probably know what Black Friday is. Black Friday is the Friday after Thanksgiving, where basically everything goes on crazy sales, and everyone, usually because they have the day off from work, everyone goes and does their Christmas shopping to get out of the way. So, and also just in general, are you shopping for the holidays? For your friends, your family? Maybe you don't celebrate things religiously, okay, but you still give gifts. A lot of people do. Christmas is secularized. It's pretty awesome, okay? So a lot of atheists celebrate Christmas. And if you are using Amazon to do your Christmas shopping next Friday or throughout the holiday season, you should make sure that you are supporting Atheist Republic as you do it. So Atheist Republic is part of the Amazon Smile program. And what the Amazon Smile program is that if you select Atheist Republic as the charity of your choice, when you're shopping on Amazon, as long as the URL that you are shopping at is smile.amazon.com, and that's the URL you're using at checkout, then a percentage of the money spent on your purchase will be donated to Atheist Republic. This does not contribute to any additional expense on your part. This contribution comes from Amazon, completely free of charge to you. So you just do your normal shopping, and then Amazon donates some of the money from your purchase to Atheist Republic, and you can support our work. So I wanted to make sure to highlight this again to you guys because it does actually help our organization a lot. I love taking advantage of this program when I do my shopping, because then I feel like, oh my God, I might be spending too much money on these products that I don't need, but at least some of it is going to Atheist Republic. And so let me make sure to put the link in the chat.
I did.
And
I put
if
it.
you're in a different country, you already put it in?
Yeah. But you can put
No,
it as well.
I don't see it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
Okay,
my
good.
live chat stopped working.
Mine has stopped working as well. Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, if you go to this link and you follow the instructions, which are very self-explanatory, you can select Atheist Republic as your charity of choice. And then whenever you shop, do smile.amazon.com or whatever your local market is, .de, whatever. And you can support our work from wherever you are doing your shopping. And Black Friday is next Friday, so I wanted to make sure to highlight it this week. And consider, supporting AR as you do all your shopping this holiday season.
Yes. Make sure, we should actually get this clip out soon before next week, Friday. Yeah, guys, this is like at no cost to you. You're basically able to support us financially without actually spending a single cent. So win-win for all of us. Yeah.
Yes. And also, if you're doing holiday shopping, you should check out Atheist Republic's store. If you go to atheistrepublic.com/store, you can see all of our merchandise. And we have lots of funny t-shirts, mugs, sweatshirts, basically any kind of item you can imagine with funny atheist content. So you can, if you have an atheist or godless heathen in your life that you want to get them a fun, cheeky, godless t-shirt or whatever as a gift, we have more than enough options to cover you for the holiday season, including some that I think are Christmas themed.
So both the link to our store and to the Amazon Smile is in the description, right? Yes.
Yes, at the very bottom.
Yes. So make sure you use those links. Okay, we should head out. StreamYard is acting weird for me, so it's good time. It's a good thing.
Yeah,
that we
exactly.
ended
I
it
don't
with-
know how much. Like,
Yeah.
I can't click on anything right now. It's super weird.
No, don't click on anything because it does happen without showing it to you. So
Oh.
I'm using my phone to see what's happening. So if you look on our phone, we're actually this view, but on our screen it's showing something else. So it's weird. StreamYard is
Okay,
acting
yeah.
weird.
So we should end things here before everything
Yeah,
breaks.
everything is breaking apart. Let's go, Susie. I can't even highlight the new chat. All right, guys, we're gonna go. The house is crashing on our head, so we're gonna leave. So, all right,
I
guys.
had really fun. I had a lot of fun this week.
Yes, like the stream and like our videos and leave comments and all. Those really help us grow the channel. So, and it doesn't cost you anything. So, yeah, please do it. It costs you half a second to like the video. All right, guys. Bye. Mwah.
Bye.